I'm Dr. Danite, and this is the Bliss Lab, where we approach life as a delicious experiment. From Tantra to embodiment, from polarity to pleasure, we're here to study bliss, one juicy conversation at a time. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Bliss Lab. I am your host and lead bliss investigator, Dr. Danite, and we are back for another one. Let's continue decoding this thing called life. So, of course, I'm excited about our next guest because I don't have like a schedule for these podcasts. It's not like I have to do them every so often. I just wait until I'm excited about something or I meet someone that I'm like, ooh, let's talk about it. Come into the Bliss Lab. And so this happened recently where I'm on Instagram, of course, probably needing to post something and falling into a deep hole, but regardless. And I kept seeing this man's content on Polarity, which you know I'm obsessed with. And his content was just on point. And it's on point and it's in the depths of like, yes, brother. And I know him from my past and we've been in and out of touch over the years. And I just reached out to him like, yo, come on in. Let's chat about this. So I want to introduce you to an old friend of mine, Dr. Peter Swanz. Okay, so he is a naturopathic physician, a men's coach, a writer, and a stand-up comic. We're going to have so much fun today. And for more than 2 decades, he's helped individuals and couples transform their health and relationships by weaving together holistic medicine, functional medicine, and lifestyle coaching. And recently, he's created this cool thing called Training for the Bedroom. And this is where he inspires men and women to cultivate strength, presence, and polarity, not just in the gym, but in every aspect of love and life. I love it so much. So his style blends his life's work, right? His medical wisdom, his humor, his grounded masculine leadership, making complex ideas simple, practical, and engaging. And so I am so excited to have Dr. Peter Swanz here with me in the Bliss Lab. Hello, dear.
Hey, Danite. It's so good to be here with you and see you. And yeah, we go way back. We have such a beautiful history and shared experiences. It's amazing to have these paths.
Naturopathic. Being in naturopathic medical school together, we were in the same class, is literally like being family. Like that journey of education and the rigor and all the personal development and all the healing we did on ourselves and each other, that anyone in our class feels like family. And so we've been in and out of touch, but then you kind of came online with this Training for the Bedroom content, and I was just like, let's talk. So this is something you're passionate about. So this is largely centered around polarity. We know everything in the body is connected: physical, mental, emotional health, relationship, health. So I can see that piece has come online for you. Why polarity for you? And of course, we all live our way through our life experiences, largely into these awarenesses and curiosities. So maybe we just start by talking about polarity from your perspective in general. Why do we care about it? Why is it something we should be paying attention to? What would you say there?
Well, I think it's something that is really important today, because I think both men and women have started to realize that where we're all at kind of collectively is not working well for everybody, and especially not as a collective. It seems to push a lot of independence and kind of push people away from each other, and people are in this very neutral state. And just in my own journey of wanting to be better in relationships and solve the problems that I was bringing to relationships, I'm doing work, I'm working with therapists and different coaches, and probably halfway through that journey is like kind of where David Data's work and John Wineland. And so like the terminology for polarity started to come stronger into my presence. Although a lot of the ideas and the relationship kind of skills and tool sets are there utilizing this energy dynamic, but maybe just not using the verbiage to describe it in the same way.
And not knowing about it consciously. Like polarity is at play, whether we relate to it or not. So why not understand it and work with it versus it being a major force of attraction and charge and aliveness and balance in a relationship and in all relationships, not just a love relationship, but this is where it really comes to light the most. And that's why I love talking about it, because once I had that experience of the words of, polarity coming through the books I'm reading and understanding the concepts of it, it hit me so deep. I'm like, oh, this is true. And I never understood this and never understood how it works. And I'm living completely backwards. Like I'm fully in the masculine. How am I blocking the ease and the flow of life? And so beautiful. So through that, because polarity, how would you describe it?
I mean, polarity is just it's polarity is the energy, and it's the natural attraction or complementary aspects of different energies. So we learn, and we were trained in Chinese medicine, yin and yang, north and south. I mean, these are just types of polarities, and so the masculine and the feminine, it's an energy within all of us. And understanding how it's playing out in us, and then in our relationship dynamics, now we get to use it. I think it can feel like a charged topic because it's easy to think, oh, we're talking about males and females, but that's not. It's not a gendered concept in that way. And so I think, a lot of people are coming back to polarity and talking about it because we're trying to clear this up.
Beautiful. And just to prove your point that it's not just in heterosexual male, female, like a man and a woman, right? A gender, it's not gender specific. In my female relationships and some of my best friendships with women, it's something we now play with because there's always masculine energy and feminine energy. So we'll play like, okay, today I'm totally in the masculine. You relax. I'm going to go get the water. I'm going to go get the candle we need. You sit. I got you. Like, I'm going to dom you right now, is what we say. I'm going to run the shit. And another day it's like, okay, I'll make the plans. You sit back. And we almost consciously can feel whose energy is more in that place or who needs to be in the feminine more. Yes. And it's a beautiful way to play in it. And then we can also feel, wait, you've been in the masculine a lot today. I'll take over. Because in every dynamic, there's masculine shit to do and there's feminine shit to do. It's just unconsciously, we just can take over certain poles and not create the balance, even in a female friendship, a male to male friendship. And so it is not gender specific, but it is within just all of us, my own masculine energy, my own feminine energy, and that sacred union within me. And that's the primary. That's really the ultimate that will reflect into the types of relationships I attract and entertain, is a reflection of the level of regard and balance I have for my internal masculine and feminine energies. Okay, so I originally formulated Bliss and Tallow as a clean, deeply nourishing body butter, using tallow as the main ingredient because honestly, the moisture is unreal. It's rich and not greasy, and it just lasts, like 24 hours lasts. It hydrates deeper into the skin instead of just sitting on top of the skin. Okay, but here's the thing. I didn't just make this for your skin. I also formulated this for your pleasure. So yes, your skin will feel soft and hydrated for hours, but what I really love is hearing all the stories from women who are slowing down and taking their time and actually enjoying the experience of putting it on. From the smell to the texture, the ritual of rubbing it in, it's like your body starts to remember, oh, I get to receive. I get to feel good. Bliss isn't just a feeling, it's a frequency. And this body butter, it helps you tune right into that frequency. So if you're ready to create more moments of softness, sensuality, and self-connection, Bliss and Tallow is your jam. I'm offering you 10% off with code BLISS10 plus 100% satisfaction guarantee because I want nothing to get in the way of you finding your bliss.
And so like, it plays out in patients who are in their, I see it a lot in like the women that I work with who have a lot of anxiety, emotional stress, and that's their feminine emotional body. And they're often trying to balance it with logic, right? So they're trying to like think their way out of it, or if I just replay why I'm anxious over and over, and I'm like, no, we've got to connect to the feeling. You can't think your way out of the feeling. You've got to work through the emotional stuff. And then the beautiful thing is, right, in relationship dynamics, we get to offer that space for our partners in different ways because there is a masculine balance that's needed to it, but it's not a mental container, right? It's not a,
No.
yeah,
And so we can provide that for ourselves as women, or if we're in a healthy relationship where the man is really holding the masculine pole, one of the greatest gifts they can provide a woman is that container and that safety and that anchoring for her to come down. And so I make a joke because I just like study life. I'm just like constantly analyzing everything. It's a lot in the head sometimes, but it's what I do. Okay. And I see couples and I see the woman spinning and anxious and not grounded and over planning and fearful and overworked. And right away, I don't even need to look over. I know he's not holding the masculine pole.
right.
When you see a woman like that, you're like, where's your man? Not to do it all, but to ground her, to root her, to create a container and a space of, no, it's time to let go and I'm going to hold the space for that. Or let me take this off your plate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it brings a different level of like appreciation to that feminine energy when the masculine can show up and be like, "Hey, you're okay. Hey, you're doing a great job." Hey,
Yeah.
like and
Appreciation for her.
I think it can be valuable for her, and I also think it's a gift for the guy because because we don't have to take it on. I feel like in my past, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, if she's sad, then I should probably be sad too, or if she's anxious, I should probably be anxious about this too, and so being able to show up in a way where I'm like, oh my gosh, not having to be anxious about this and just being present with her is actually better for her and I feel better. It's like a win-win situation.
That's a powerful thing you just shared. I think a lot of men follow the woman's emotional lead, which is like the worst thing you could do. Like don't mirror her because that's not safe for her. Show her another experience. Show her stability. Show her space. Show her safety in expression without reaction. And the feminine will work it through ourselves often.
Yeah.
And don't mimic her. Don't follow her emotional lead. It's like the worst thing you could do.
When I first really became conscious of this, my go-to move was like, all right, practice 3-phase breath. And so I'd be sitting with my girlfriend and she would be upset. And in my mind, I'm like, all right, all you're thinking about is breathing. All you're thinking about is breathing. And there's like this back in my head guilt, like, should I be listening more intently to what she's saying? But as I would breathe, and what I started to do often was also I would put a hand kind of on her heart. And I would just let her talk and I would try to just breathe and feel her breath and try to feel her slow down with me. And it was such a grounding, beautiful practice. And I started telling friends of mine and some of my buddies, like, man, just breathe. Like literally, when you're hearing this, just focus your breath.
I love that so much because it's acknowledging that it's not like, oh, it's so easy for the man to do these things. What you just shared really shows that the initial reaction is, oh shit, she's not okay. I need to fix it. I'm uncomfortable that she's not okay. I don't feel like, did I do something wrong? Do I need to defend myself? Who knows? More like what else is going on for the man that doesn't yet understand to just hold space? Like a lot would come up for him, right?
100%. And I think that this is what I'm so guilty of because in my mind, I was this good guy and I feel like a logical person. Like if I did or said something, there was a reason to it.
Right.
And so it was so typical for me in a kind of disagreement to want to argue and defend and excuse and explain and it's like, hey, we're not in court. This is not, and being right doesn't necessarily equal a win, especially when you're forcing it onto another person.
Right. So, and then treating life like a science experiment, like I always say, you change a variable. Okay, so a man comes up to a woman who's like, I'm crying, and she's having an expression. And the first version is defend, explain, match her emotion, and just notice what the next 3 fucking days are like. Okay. Okay. Or let her be the same way, change the variable of feeling the discomfort in your body and breathing, rooting deeper, becoming more present, and putting a grounding hand on her heart. And I would even suggest her heart and her womb, which is actually the emotional center too. And that's a beautiful hold that is like a steady, loving touch and not a demanding touch. And then notice what the next 3 days are like.
Yeah.
Like change that variable, men,
Yes.
and just play. It's powerful.
It is powerful, and it's also kind of a, like a take home for me was like there doesn't have to be a strong like resolution of this whatever it is issue. It's just both sitting with it in a way that feels okay, and it's like the next day it's like you could it didn't happen almost.
It's actually so true. And because for the woman, it's interesting because the male brain is logical and solution oriented. So you bring a male brain to a freaking out woman and he's like, let's fix it. No, it didn't. It didn't happen that way. Blah, blah, blah. And the woman is like the safety, which is like the core experience to provide for a woman. If you want the most alive, activated, powerful woman, make her safe. The safety in I can express everything I'm feeling, because it's a lot to feel when you're a woman, especially when you're awakened and you're not locked down in the heart and you've opened your emotional realm and you feel. It's a lot. And so for us to have the space to just blah, 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 and to have a little bit of permission to be a little irrational in it. And the toxic feminine, we have to be careful. It's not digging at our man and tearing him down. And like, there's no beauty in that. That's really a toxic expression of the feminine, but true just expression of our emotions. I feel I'm experiencing the safety that we can go there and that we can touch in on those corners and that you're still holding our gaze and you're not reacting and you're allowing us. It's literally a completing cycle almost, and just being met with that level of presence and that you're still peaceful after we've gone there is so fucking safe. Notice how your woman treats you the next few days after that.
Yeah, I think for me too, like discovering polarity and, really getting a feel for like what the feminine is and what the masculine is, and that there's beauty and magic and power in both of them. It really allowed me to start appreciating all of the emotional stuff. And I tell patients, right, like America may be the only country that pretends we're supposed to be happy all the time. And it's like, no, there's so many amazing feelings that we can experience, and they're all powerful. It's the weather, right? The feminine's the weather.
Yeah.
It changes. Yeah. And it's been cold and snowy here, kind of I'm about sick of it, but it's not bad. It's not that the weather's bad or done something. Yeah. It's just what it is.
Yeah. And knowing that weather is such a great analogy because we know it's transient.
Yes.
And I think part of the contraction for the man is, oh, fuck, she's not okay. She's not going to be okay. It's over. Versus like a more expansive hold on like, this is an expression of my woman that's important, because if we shut down the emotions of a woman, and I know a lot of women that don't fully share their emotions with their men because their men can't handle it.
Yes.
Their men get defensive, or they just right away feel like they make it about them. Oh, I did something wrong. I didn't do it right. And it's like, no. So I know so many women who don't fully express, but here's the kicker. Emotional fluidity unlocks erotic fluidity. 100%. And if we lock up emotionally, we lock up our erotic. And so everyone loses. And so to be able to hold a woman in her full erotic expression, her full sexual connection, there needs to be full emotional fluidity. And that's a mature relationship to do exactly what you're saying and to learn as a man how to hold that. So I love the breathe. In the beginning, you have to meet your own discomfort. There's a reason why you jump in to fix and to defend. And we have to meet that within ourselves as men, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's self-regulation. And I love exactly what you were saying. I feel the same way, that if you want to be able to experience the full power and beauty of your, feminine partner's, pleasure and joy and rapture and surrender, you've got to be able to handle the anxiety and the anger and the rage.
You gotta earn that shit, baby. Yeah. I mean, a woman's surrender, I don't think there's anything more beautiful that you could give your man than a full surrender, which implies trust.
Yes. It's acceptance.
Implies trust. So foreplay for a man is building trust all day long, so she can in the bedroom. This is training for the bedroom, right? This is your whole thing. It's like, I love it so much. I mean, training for the bedroom is breathing when your woman's having a complete emotional flare. You're setting up for some great sex. You think you're just taking some shit and you have to breathe, but it's like you're setting up for some like deep connection erotically, because the safety in a woman's body in just that moment is better than any bunch of roses or other foreplay tactics.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. And that self-regulation and then being able to support your partner through that. I mean, it's truly, truly a gift. And then I think...
Is it? It's a gift to you? Tell me what it feels like, Peter, on the other side of having held your woman through a big fucking tidal wave, okay? And you had to breathe deep, deep into your body. At the other side where she's like, oh, baby, thank you. Oh, my God, I'm feeling better. Thank you. What does that feel like to you?
Oh, it's absolutely that sort of like, I solved this problem. Like I fixed this.
Yeah. That's the masculine. I did it.
Yeah, it's like a win. It's like I got a little win there. Or we win. The relationship wins from this. And we both showed up in the roles that were, supposed to be there. But I also think being a man, when I'm holding a partner and truly like feeling her relax just in that moment, it's like, it's just pure presence. And, we're a society and a culture, we're detached. People are often not present in what they're doing in the moments. We're in our heads all the time. So being able to have those very kind of meditative present moments, I think that's a gift, and people do need more of that. And I don't know if you ever heard this study. They did a thing where they were like asking people to kind of rate their level of presence throughout the day. I think it was like an app. And, on average, most Americans were about 30% present, right? Like when they were doing the dishes, they're not thinking about doing the dishes, they're thinking about work and other stuff. But when they were being intimate or preparing to be intimate, it was about 70%. So for me, when I learned that, I was like, oh, wow, like sex is one of the meditative things that people who don't meditate do. And no wonders it's healing, and it's
so popular.
And it's parasympathetic, and it's good. And when then relationships start to lose it, no wonders things feel so bad and feel so wrong.
It's so interesting, because it's one of the few places that really demands that presence, which is still only 70. I mean, that's really where tantric practices and tantric sex, what it really brings. People think that it's just like crazy positions and all that stuff. No, it's actually deep presence and more ways to find that together and with each other to activate the polarity and the masculine feminine energies and the connection, and to liberate all the potential that it exists in a sexual union that we can't activate if we're not present and we're not in our bodies. So I love that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so a lot of people have experienced it, but again, they didn't get there necessarily consciously, right? It's the excitement in the beginning of a relationship, and in the me single dating world, I thought this was kind of funny as I was meeting some older, women my age, our age, and who had like been through relationships. I was surprised how many were saying, and you said this word earlier, that were like, hey, I'm kind of interested in a dom sub dynamic. And I started to put together, I was like, oh, a lot of women are kind of wanting shortcuts into their feminine surrender. They're saying, I'm going to play around with this thing where I give up control. And I get why they do it. And I've met a number of women who were like, oh, yeah, I tried it. It was, there were aspects of it that were good, but it's not really for me. And what that says is, oh, there are other ways you can get there. You're looking for that same sort of energetic connection with the male partner, but you don't want to play that yes sir master game or whatever.
It's an extreme expression, like microcosm of the macro, right? Like a dom sub
Right.
relationship is like an extreme, fullest expression of what we're talking about. And it can be very therapeutic for women, especially women who are the boss bitch in charge of everything, running life. And it's not even available in like to even start to surrender, like it's unsafe. But in that dynamic, it's so extreme that the dom comes in such a dominant way and creates safety, but edge, that they can touch in on this. So it could be a beginning. It could just be like to crack the window for them of, oh my God, submission. Like there's so much available there. I've been so petrified because being a woman in a man's world, I could never show weakness or submission or surrender. But it's nourishing to the women's system to do that, because you have to feel really safe. So I think that's interesting too. And I think it can be a good dip for people.
And the safety thing is a really important piece. And I think that's something in the sort of, kink alternative community.
Yeah.
Like it's a big deal to dom well. It's not something that you just like haphazardly.
You're right, because you have to be so tuned in and dialed in to your sub, because they're in your hands, and you have to know what they can and can't handle before they do, just by tuning into their breath, their movement. Like it's intense, but I think it has opportunity. It's not for everyone, but it is this really intense expression of what we're talking about in a daily life, for sure. Okay. Talk to me. You've been working with men and you've been on your own journey, and you're like, what would you say are the main polarity killers that are the most common that you find in men? Like ways of being of men that do not charge up their women, do not create, say, whatever, you get the question. What would you?
For me personally, again, I'm voracious reader, relationship books, health, holistic health stuff. When I read No More Mr. Nice Guy, that was like,
it's a classic. It's a classic in this field. It's a must read. Yeah.
I do think
everyone's got a certain.
I think every guy should read it. And like for me, I had pride in being a nice guy. Like I make my mom proud, and my teachers like me, and it was I'm agreeable and kind. And when I discovered the idea around these covert contracts about not owning your truth, and then for me too, okay, what is my purpose outside of being in a relationship with a woman? Because I think for a really long time I thought, hey, you need to be better than your dad, and so your purpose is to not be your dad as a father to your daughters and as a partner in relationships. And really, it seems, in my late 40s to realize, hey, that's not your purpose. Your purpose is to help people transform their lives and their health, the stuff that you've been doing, but not really, pursuing it as your passion in that way. And that was huge for me. But I think the problem with the nice guy, a big problem, is attachment to outcomes.
Right? Juicy.
Yeah.
Lay it down. Talk to me.
Well, because it's easy if I'm in my body and in my mind, I'm looking for intimacy from my partner, right? And I bring that as a needy energy, or I don't express it in a way, or I don't own that, and I'm secretly, hey, I'm going to clean the dishes and wipe down the counters, and I'm going to do these things to make it, the house look good, and she's not going to have any stress, and she's just going to want to be intimate. I'm not owning that experience. And then if the intimacy doesn't happen, now I'm falling into my passive aggressive, my feelings are hurt. I mean, I'm on this journey because I'm still on this journey and I'm still
We all are, baby.
learning these things.
So what you're saying, let me pause you here because this is rich because it's so covert that the nice guy, nice, right? Nice. Like we think that's a positive thing, but actually it's manipulative as fuck. But it's not like malicious. It's a way he's trying to survive. It's a way he's trying to get what he needs through manipulation. I'm going to do all these things for you. I'm going to break my back and I'm going to overgive and I'm going to do all these things. But it's not coming from, I desire to do this for you. I just would love to make you happy. It's coming from, if I do all of this, you'll be happy with me and you'll want to have sex with me, or you're going to give me back positive. You're going to like me more. You're going to want me. You're going to say good boy. And the feminine feels it. It's under the radar and we don't even understand, but like it doesn't activate the juice in us.
100%. And it's painful for the guy,
Tell me about that.
Well, because again, it's like you're putting all the eggs in this basket and it can take you again out of the experience in those moments. So it's like I'm going to hang out with a girlfriend for a couple hours hoping for this. And then for 2 hours, I'm in my head. Was that a signal? Is she opening the door? Did I?
Yeah.
You get in your head and then you're disappointed and you leave. Versus like, because I think letting go of expectations doesn't mean you still don't have hope. I mean, you still, right? We still have wants. We still
a desire, but it's not an attachment.
Yeah, and it's not put on to somebody else to have to meet that need. Right.
Wow.
I have a guy who I've done a lot of work with. His name's Scott Katamas. He's like an NVC, a nonviolent communication coach, and he's a love coach. And one of the things he told me that I love, he said, expectations have 2 requirements. The first is they need to be spoken out loud. Yeah. And the second is the person the expectation is for has 0 responsibility to meet it. And I just thought, that's a powerful, beautiful idea. But I think the nice guy, nice girls, it's easy for us to have those unspoken expectations. And that's really where we get in trouble with it.
So that's part of the danger, is that it's unspoken. And I want you to know how much it just touched my heart when you said it's really painful for the guy. Like, I really feel that. And that's why I said, like, it's not malicious. It's actually, they're running the only program they know at that time. It's like a less wise program. It's all they've got at the time. And it feels like it should work. And maybe it worked as a younger boy, in ways like it becomes almost transactional because they're just trying to be okay. But what you're saying is the greatest loss of power for a man is that attachment to the outcome is where we lose all the power, because then it doesn't happen and then trip. Versus a non-attached to an outcome, would you say, would be a man, I'm going to clean the kitchen because I want to, and because it just feels good to do that for my woman. I just think she'll appreciate it. Like, not like, and I'm going to get something for it, but I have it in my heart to give. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, you have it in the heart to give. And I think too, letting go of the outcome, it's an opportunity to sort of acknowledge, like, in some ways, the masculine is not satisfied. It's never, it's never really enough. Yeah. I can want intimacy and sex with my partner and get it, and then I want it again pretty soon afterwards, So like having this expectation for any one thing, any one accomplishment, you're now setting yourself up to be like really, really disappointed because you didn't make it, or to get there and then be really disappointed because you're there and it's not it's
Either
not,
way, it's empty. It's
yeah,
empty either way, is what you're saying.
yeah, and I think this is just part of kind of the masculine journey, the hero's journey. It's like it's never quite gonna be enough, even as you're still doing it, but keep doing it anyway because why not?
Uh-huh. And that's the thing to kind of like know about yourself and to release the grip on is, or just accept it. Like that's part of the male nature is that it's never enough because there's a drive, there's an ambition, there's a mission. But how do we stay healthy with that and not like trip ourselves into thinking at some point it really and it's actually a healthy thing that's never enough in a way. That's what keeps it going.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like kind of circling this back to the intimacy and the relationship dynamics, I talk a lot with people and about like, desire is something that we get really caught up in the intimacy world. And effectively, polarity creates the desire, the masculine and the
Yes.
feminine,
Yes.
the charges, they're attracted to each other. That is desire. But on another level, it's really the pleasure and the connection, and again, this shared experience, the
Yes.
moment. It's not the orgasm at the end or the fact that we are just doing this. So I think when you again sort of let go of the expectation and say, oh, it's the pleasure that I want, and it's the connection with my partner and the way that she just holds me or lets me rest my hand on her heart and on her stomach and we breathe together. It doesn't matter if we necessarily have the sex
Letting those be the peak moments, letting that be the orgasm, whereas we think that sex is that we're trying to get somewhere and we have to hit the jackpot. And then that was the whole point. And what you're saying is now it's understanding, like, take the tangents, find the journey is actually so rich in fulfillment and pleasure if we're more conscious and present in it.
I look at it as like I can make love to a partner in so many ways outside of the sex we have.
Yes. Yes.
And if that continues to be kind of a focus and showing up in that way, then I enjoy it all because it's coming from this place of again, building connection. It's a pleasure thing. And I think a lot of men I think it's hard sometimes for guys to know what they like just for themselves.
Yeah. And I think, if I may, because this is something I've been wanting to say about the nice guy thing that I think leads into this, tell me if it does, is so many men, I'm going air quotes on the men right now, because our culture no longer has inherent rites of passage for boys to become men. And life is very comfortable for boys. And the thing that makes a boy into a man is challenge, rigor, like an opportunity to like take a big step into something kind of dangerous and definitely challenging. And this is what forges a man, from what I understand. And our culture's been sanitized. I mean, sometimes, team sports can be something like this for boys, but largely it's sanitized. We don't have it as much. So there's a lot of boys that grow into men's ages, but actually are still younger emotionally, or just I don't even know if it's emotionally, but they haven't really had that initiation into manhood. And the way that results is their greatest love and their greatest female relationship is mother. And it's a very important relationship. And if they haven't claimed themselves as men, they get into their first, serious love relationship with a woman and transfer that, well, she's the main woman, there's mother energy. And then that creates a lot of problems because it's so nuanced and it's so under the radar, but the man can want approval from her and want to please her for her love and want her to be proud of him. Like, think of all the things a mother does. And then the woman, we're so wired to nurture. Our maternal shit is deep, and you come around, any person that's like in that realm, it's easy to slip into that if we're not educated. That's a polarity killer. And that doesn't allow the man to be in the masculine pole or the woman to be cared for in the way she needs to. And this feels like some of the nice guy stuff. What do you think about that?
100%. I mean, I think it is so typical. And I think, to some extent, that mother please the mother energy, we're getting that from our society and culture to an extent too, right? In the way that, in the way that there's sort of been an inversion, right, with so many women living much more masculine lives and day in and day out behaviors, and a lot of men trying to connect more to the feminine and the emotional self and body. And so it's not even just what at home, but it's like, I don't want society. I want society to be proud of me and to think I'm a good boy and that I make them happy, right?
And for a man shifting from living for external validation and approval, and instead shifting deeper, which is what you were alluding to about their purpose.
Yes.
And if they know their purpose on a larger scale, fulfilling that purpose is self-validating. It's validating that I'm being the most highest version and contribution that I can give as my signature of a man, because every man's purpose is different, right? Based on who they are. And that's the validation. Is that true?
Yeah, 100%. But again, if you're stuck looking for it from mom, right?
Yeah.
You don't know.
You can't.
You just don't know how to do that, how to look for it.
It's so limiting for the man if they're just looking at it from their woman, right? So I think that's a really important topic, and one that I can see in lots of relationships too. Now that I get it, but it's under the radar. Like it just becomes the pattern until we awaken or get curious and want more for ourselves, because it's very limiting. It's very limiting on the erotic realms, all the realms. Yeah. But okay, so the nice guy, you would say, is one of the biggest ones that you find you're working with men from the perspective of attachment, covert contracts, maybe even this mother-son dynamic might play into it some. Is there anything more on the nice guy?
Well, I think too that connecting to their purpose and building a life to outside of the feminine, the women. Don't let their existence revolve completely around the woman. And this doesn't mean that your family's not important and your children and things like that. And I'm not saying that your work should be the most important thing, but I think it kills the feminine attraction when the guy's just there all the time, right? Like
pining for her approval,
right?
Especially,
we need that space. Esther Perel talks about it, right? The fire needs oxygen to.
Yes, to love her.
Yeah.
And so, is that one of the ways? Because understanding the masculine pole and understanding that role, it's a lot of providing. It's a lot of holding. It's leadership. It's, initiative. It's a very providing, supportive, rooted, powerful. Mm-hmm. I love masculine energy. It's beautiful. But it's that element, right? Whereas the feminine is like intuitive and feeling and sensual and nurturing, right? So they're different textures. So for the man, my question is, how the man, it's really providing. It's a very providing role, right? Now you do get back from the feminine, and I believe the masculine gives and the feminine gives back. I'm landing on that in my study, that by nature, the feminine is given to, and then we give back. And if we are provided for, safety predominantly in all the million ways you can provide safety, emotional, physical, structural, all the fucking ways, the more safety you provide for her, the more you're going to get back from her, more than you ever could have even known to ask for or that you knew even existed. And so in that, I'm getting there. What does a man, why would a man choose this, right? Like you alluded to it a little bit already, but like, what is in it for him? What's the feel good point? What's the surge of like, oh yeah, like I'm a woman, right? So I so understand the feel good end of polarity for her. But what's the feel good end, and why go through all this effort? What's the win? What's the full experience of a man in the relationship where the woman is surrendered? Yeah, tell me.
Well, I think, I mean, I think it's probably similar in some ways to the feminine, although I feel like men, it's about being accepted for who you are. It's about being validated and appreciated, and it's so strange, it's so kind of peculiar that for the majority of men, the way they will most experience that authentically and in a resonant way with their heart and soul is by being sexually physical with a woman who's loving them and giving them love.
It's true. It's true.
It makes me mad in some ways that it's so simple and so easy, because I get why it would be infuriating to some extent to women,
But if it's in that dynamic that we just said, where the feminine feels safe. I'm going to use that as my high level expression of what it feels like for a woman to be with a man in the masculine pole. What we give back, like the expression that can come through a woman, it's such a gift to their man. But it feels so good for the woman to be that surrendered, to be able to touch in to these parts that will only come out, these levels of activation and sexuality. And I call it my sexual goddess. And she will only come out if it's safe. And I can't coax her out. I can't convince her to come out. I can't pretend to be her. It's fucking nature.
Yeah, no shortcut.
And so it's a gift to everybody. But for my man to receive her is like one of the most beautiful gifts I could give. But to hear you say that that's actually one of the most beautiful gifts to receive, is to be able to play in that garden.
It is magical, there's a lot of foo-foo words that get thrown around, like, oh, this is magical, this is manifest energy, like we can put this out into the world. But I truly think in having those shared experiences, it's you for the next days, you carry that energy and those feel good hormones and that magic with you. And when I'm aligned in these ways, everything starts to click. It's the relationship.
Tell me more.
It's the intimacy, it's the work stuff, it's the comedy, it's the, I feel like I'm dancing better when I go to see bands. Like it's, it just all comes together.
That's what you're saying. When you're in this alignment, your whole life is activated. Like Peter is like dialed. Peter feels in alignment and in lockstep with like high vibrational life is kind of what you said. That's what you feel like, it's correct and life is flowing through you.
Yes. And it's you can't get that self-pleasuring yourself.
No,
you don't get you can get the sort of physical relief, you can have the feel good moment, but you don't get the same acceptance and appreciation and validation, and you're not going to carry you're not going to have the same magic energy to carry back into the rest. And so I think we need a partner to provide the polarity and that balance.
I know, because there was a movement for a while, like a woman should be able to handle all their own needs, and like anything you want from your man is what you're not giving to yourself. And I think there is a realm of exploration in that, where we just want the shortcut, like you give it to me so I don't have to find it in myself. I do believe learning your own body, pleasuring yourself. I don't even like calling it self-pleasure anymore, because that almost puts pressure on it. Sometimes it's extremely pleasurable, but sometimes it's self-connection. It's just learning your own body and the most intimate parts of your body and connecting to them in slowness and in unconditional love. And sometimes that leads to beautiful orgasms, and sometimes it's just a beautiful connection. But I agree that there is certain things that could only be explored in the dynamic, and relationships, like that energy can only be healed in relationship. But what I really want to say is what you were alluding to before about that feeling of like when the woman is fully in her activation, the man gets to receive that and feel her power and her beauty and her sensuality and what that does for you as a man, how that activates your life. That's the gift of the goddess. That is the gift of the feminine. We are the creation of life through this energy that fuels the man and his source energy to be brighter and bolder and hold more, because he has that he's fueled by that's what the feminine does. And Tantra is one of the few ancient wisdoms that I talk about this all the time. So if you hear my podcast a lot, sorry, here we go. Take it from the top, because it's so important. So many religions have separated sexuality from spirituality. Many of the ancient wisdoms had sexuality as part of the teachings, and it was sanitized. And Tantra is one of the few intact ancient wisdoms, because sexuality is a part of being a human being. Like we eat, we sleep, we have sex. Like it's like non-negotiable pretty much. And so, but we don't talk about the sex. There's all this shame, right? And especially spirituality and sexuality, that's like the church, and sex is like the biggest oil and water that exists. When the truth that I'm discovering in the Bliss Lab is they go together. It's called sex and samadhi, sex and spirituality. And so when those moments come, Peter, where you are making love to your woman and things are aligned and she feels safe and she feels held and she can surrender and she can really let out her feminine, and it completely activates you and finds more manliness in you. And that's a spiritual event where I believe, so it's like Shiva and Shakti, the divine feminine, the divine masculine come together in sacred union. That's divinity. So we let more God energy in. I'm going here because it's the fucking truth. And it's okay. And it's Tantra is a spiritual practice, and it's really a path to enlightenment that includes sexuality, using sex and pleasure as another gateway to the divine.
Yeah. And what a great place to explore and discover the divine, right? In bliss, in bed, naked. And I think too, you can bring in, like people talk about light energy, dark energy, the shadow work.
Yeah.
Like we can work through all of that in different ways with the right partner or partners in this kind of intimacy pursuit, like that's it's powerful. And then again, I think when we do that work in these relationships, we then get to bring what we learn into the broader world. Yes. And we need more healthy masculine and feminine energy working together in our country, in our society.
Brother, that's why we're here. Like the feminine is awakening. Mm-hmm. Okay. We feel it. There is so many women that are slowly rebalancing from the feminist movement, where we had to emulate masculine power to be taken seriously. God bless us. We had to. There's a swing now, and we've been riding that wave a while. We're all burning out, right? The women are like frazzling, shaking, like full-time jobs, raising families, looking good, doing it. Like women are like fucking losing it, right? Trying to keep it all together but now, yeah.
Well, they're saying, where's the men? Where's the guy?
Yes.
But it's because that they know that feminine part of them wants the counterbalance, and you just don't do it for yourself in the same way.
And you can't call in a masculine energy if you're in the masculine pull. Nature. If I'm running my life in that way and there's no softness, there's no submission, I'm not in my feelings ever, I'm leading, I'm making all the decisions, I'm doing it all. And for some single women, they have no fucking choice. Like this is a tough one, and it's possible through awareness, but there's no room for the masculine energy because they're standing in their place. Okay. So there's that. And I know so many women, some single mothers, some people in relationships, and some just single people who are finding their feminine energy and understanding the power in being a woman. So we had to emulate men for a while, right? And then the power that we hold as women in ways that were deemed weaknesses are actually our power, and how to work and live in them and all the things. And then these women are like actually craving this aligned man. They're ready to be taken. They want to be led. They want that experience of surrender into someone that they trust, where they can really bring the gifts of the feminine. So thank God you're on Instagram doing this work. We need all the people, because I do believe it is a part of the correction that's for this new world coming.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to be healthier, as a country. And it's not just how we're eating and what we're injecting or swallowing into our bodies, right? But it's the way we're communicating with each other and showing up and supporting each other. I mean, there's plenty of good reasons to be sad, to be anxious, but also to be happy and hopeful. And, just like allowing us to have all of those things is a gift. And I have 2 daughters. Like, I want there to be better men in the world for them. I want them to have the kind of relationships, that I've imagined and aspired to and hoped for, and hopefully get there soon.
I love that. It's so beautiful. And you're really making me like feel on the bigger scale, like it's good for us. It's good for our relationships. It's good for our families. And you just look at the rising rates of anxiety and ADHD. Let's just go there. There's a million, right? In our children. Like, our children have never been more sick, but I'm going to say dysregulated.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I think about what I understand about maternal energy, women are strung the fuck out. They're not connected to their emotions. They're not grounded and present for their own reasons, or their men aren't supporting them in that way, or their family fell apart in some way that was needed or whatever. And so the imprint of the mother, kids imprint on the mother. This is something I learned later. And like, being a mother, the responsibility, like, or the whole family tunes into the matriarch to see if the world's safe. And if the mother is regulated, and if the mother is safe feeling, kids are like, oh, the world is safe. So that's more of the man supports the mother, and then the mother provides that for the kids. That's a gift in that way. And so for so many, hold on, did we freeze? We're back. For so many, just how has it affected our children to have so many women so strung out, overworked, burning out, trying to live this unwinnable game of high producing professional and loving mother, driving to soccer, making sure lunch is packed and the permission slip is signed and the fucking socks are in the drawer. And what has that nervous system imprint, how has that impacted our children? I just think there's a connection, I guess is what I'm saying.
There has to be. Yeah. I mean, it absolutely has to be. And so, I'm with you. I'm hoping the pendulum is swinging back and we're opening up. And I hope it's being done in a, mostly healthy way. I know within sort of the manosphere, I don't know if I'm technically a part of that or not part of that, but
what is that?
It's the whole
movement.
It's the movement for kind of men's rights,
Nice, nice.
Boys and men today are struggling because there's not a rite of passage, and
I got it.
Right, society stuff, and so, but there's people who are saying, well, now it's they're promoting these ideas towards masculinity that are more traditional values and and for me, I'm like, it's not about controlling the feminine, or there's an integration piece that can be done with the awareness that we have and the lives we've led and the experiences we've had now. And there is a middle ground and a happy place where we can be men and women can be women, and we win. And we also want to spend time together. Like, that's what I hope.
And everyone, exactly. And it's rebranding that old model of the man's the dominant and the woman, it's rebranding it, because there was a lot that worked and there was some misconceptions about it. So, oh God, this is so yummy. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you want to share about what you think is important for men in polarity, or common pitfalls for men?
Well, I think, I guess for me, And Danite, I'm so happy that you're doing this too. And I think we could probably have a dozen of these conversations.
Hours.
Yeah.
Hours.
About stuff. So it's really fantastic to be here. I
I
think,
know.
for me, one thing that I just hope is that couples and men and men in relationships that are working on the relationship and are going to therapy and seeing therapists also are looking out for books on these topics or more information, because I think sometimes therapy can be a lot about validation, and it tends to push
Yes.
a little bit more of the feminine energy, right? Let's talk about your emotions. Let's talk about feelings. And I just, it's front and center because I have a young couple that are patients, and they were talking about, their counseling. We were sitting in the office, and they were like, and the woman, she said, he just doesn't, I just want him to share more. I want him to say more. And I was like, probably not, actually. Like, that's probably not actually what's needed.
Let's rethink that request.
Yeah, that's probably not actually what's needed here. What you really,
Yeah.
because it was, again, she wants safety. That is exactly what she was wanting. And I was like, he's not gonna talk you into the fact that you're safe. So just, but
What she wants is connection, though, right? She probably wants connection.
And again, in that therapy setting, it's like, well, if he would just talk more, and the therapist were, have said things like, oh, and if he would just say more. And I'm like, I don't know that that's necessarily the case. So I just want men to be willing to say, to keep going to the therapy, be invested in your relationship because it's worth it and it's valuable, but then also be willing to step outside. And this is a chance for that man to lead and start to bring some of these other ideas and practices also into the relationship. And I think that's where something, the magic can really start to happen. The transformation can start to happen.
So you're really encouraging people to educate themselves, and if they think they're going to couples therapy, there's so much more, and that can be very helpful, especially depending on the education of the therapist. But there's also so much out there now. Well, who are some of your favorite authors?
I mean, I love John Wineland, and he was a student with David Data and studied with him for a year. And then John's led, 1,000 men's groups and works with couples. And his first book, From the Core, is just beautiful. Like, when I read it, I was like, oh, that's kind of what I wanted training for the bedroom to be, but John's so much. It's just the way he talks about it and stuff is really brilliant. But I love him.
But it's like a must read for any man, is what you're saying. You feel,
And he's got a prayer at the end of the book, the way he it's like an ode for my brothers or something. And like, I recorded myself reading it, and then I would just play it in the morning, every morning. It was like how I'd wake up. It was like kind of my morning prayer to go out and fight the day. And so I'm just so grateful for John, David Data. But also, I mean, Karen Brody is somebody I did coaching with. Scott Katamis, he's amazing. There's just so much good stuff out there.
Yeah, those are great.
Well, as I say, I hope to have a book, completed.
Yes, you better. We're waiting. Good, okay, good. Get on it. It's never going to be done, and there's always going to be more. So just get the first one out there. Lauren Kren is really great too. Lauren Kren is a man I follow him on Instagram, and he's got some
L-O-R-E-N.
L-O-R-E-N, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Or not I-N. Amazing. And yes, maybe we'll need a part 2 and 3 as we keep going deeper. But this was so nourishing and so great to speak to from the male's perspective of all of it, because there's two sides to every coin. But this topic is so rich and so important. So I hope it's opened some people's eyes to this realm, or how to go deeper in it, or to see things from the other side a bit more, and maybe deepen your own education in Polarity, take a workshop, follow Peter. So I'm going to put all of your links in the show notes, and you can follow you. You have Polarity Lab going on. What are some other things you have going on? How can people work with you?
Yeah, so I mean, my practice is still Vital Force naturopathy, and I'm in Louisville, but I work with people remotely. And then there's my friend Paige Perriman is a tantric Ayurvedic practitioner. She's great. And so we've been doing our own little conversations. They're shorter, sometimes 30 minutes, 45. We call it the Polarity Lab, where we kind of pick a topic and try to hit the male and female energy perspectives on it. And then we're doing some in-person Polarity Labs where we're going to invite some of the community around if they just want to come out and talk about it. And then we're hoping to do a workshop.
So cool.
Yeah, in May.
Okay. And a workshop in May. That's live.
Yeah, like an in-person, like for couples or individuals, like a Saturday and Sunday. But we're going to be doing these little, casual, free Polarity Lab in-person conversations. And just also to go, to like a Supertonic Elixir Bar. We're going to hit a yoga studio. We're going to go to a health food store. We're just kind of trying to see where people are, interested in, this topic, these energies.
I think it's brilliant to bring it into social life like that. But so great. Well, put your links in there. They can follow you and see when your live events are, and maybe just hit you up on the Polarity Lab for conversations or see you in your practice. If nothing else, it's just good to hang out with you after 25 years of being with you every day for 4 years.
I know. I'm
so good.
Yeah, I mean, these journeys bring us back and forth, but so beautiful, Danite. And I love your story and your self-discovery, and I'm happy. It seems silly to say proud, but I'm so proud of you and your journey.
I'll take it.
And everything.
I'm proud of me too.
Yeah.
These things are gnarly. We'll take all we can get. I know we made it. Well, amazing, Peter. Thank you so much for sharing yourself here today. And until next time, everyone.
Thank you, Danite.
Thank you for joining me here in the Bliss Lab. If you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe. It makes such a difference for me and my ability to continue making this content. And as a gift to you, if you take a screenshot while listening and post it to your Instagram and tag me, Dr. Danite, I will do a drawing every month and give away one free jar of Bliss and Tallow body butter. Until next time.